Today, we're going to travel back in time to later Vedic India, somewhere between 1000 and 600 BCE, to witness a truly seismic shift in history. We're going to explore how one single material, iron, completely rewrote the rules for an entire civilization's society, its politics, and even its gods.
It's a wild question, isn't it? But that is exactly what we are going to unpack. You see, the discovery of iron wasn't just some minor tech upgrade. Nope. It was the first domino that knocked over an entire way of life and then built a completely new one from the ground up.
And this chain reaction right here, this is the core of our story. It all kicks off with simple iron tools. These tools lead to a massive surplus of food, which then, and this is the crucial part, creates the foundation for totally new political and social structures. It's this incredible domino effect we're about to trace.
So let's start with the catalyst itself. Before this period, life was largely semi-nomadic. It revolved around herding cattle. But the arrival of this new, incredibly strong metal was about to change the very landscape of India, literally.
The ancient texts, especially the Yajurveda, have a name for it. Krishna Ayas, the black metal. And this stuff wasn't just a better material for making swords and spears, it was the key that was about to unlock the immense agricultural potential of a vast, untamed region.
And this shift had a massive impact on the environment. See, before iron, the dense, thick forests of the Gangetic Plains were pretty much impossible to clear. Your bronze or copper tools just weren't up to the task. But with iron axes and iron plows, everything changed. People could now chop down these massive forests, break up the hard soil, and for the very first time, build permanent settlements.
And the results? They were absolutely revolutionary. This new settled lifestyle introduced a whole menu of staple crops. We're talking widespread cultivation of rice, wheat, and barley. This wasn't just about day-to-day survival anymore. This was the beginning of an agricultural surplus. That extra food that would fuel every single other change that was about to come.
All right, let's move to our second domino. When you've got extra food and people are physically tied to the land they farm, politics has to change. It's inevitable. Power isn't just about how many cows you have anymore, it's about how much land you control.
And this shift marks the rise of the Janapada. The word literally means the foothold of a people. This signals the birth of large territorial kingdoms. What we're seeing here is the very foundation of the Indian state system being laid, and it's all built on the wealth that's coming from the land.
So, you have these big new kingdoms. How do you actually run them? Well, you need a bureaucracy, and that's where this number comes in. 12. It represents the Ratnin, or the 12 jewels, basically a council of high-ranking officials like a tax collector and a treasurer, who help the king run the show. The king was no longer just a tribal chief. He was the head of a real administration. And of course, with new power, you get new ways to show it off. The Ashwamedha was the ultimate flex. A king would set a special horse loose to wander for a whole year, with his army following close behind. Any land the horse wandered into without being challenged was now his. It was this huge, dramatic ritual that screamed to the world that this king wanted to be a supreme ruler, a Chakravarti. You can really see the whole political transformation laid out here. On one side, you have the older, more democratic-style tribal assemblies, the Sabha and Samiti, and their influence just plummets. On the other side, they get replaced by a single, supreme king whose title is passed down to his son, all supported by officials and made legitimate by these massive public rituals. Power was definitely becoming centralized.
Okay, so we've got a new economy and a new political system. What's the next logical step? You got it, a new social structure to manage this much more complex world. A settled agricultural society needed a clear blueprint for who does what. Now, the idea of 4 social classes, or varnas, had been around. But during this period, something critical changed. The system became rigid. It became hereditary. A person's role in society was now pretty much decided at birth, creating this fixed hierarchy, from the priests at the very top all the way down to the laborers at the bottom. And to get a better handle on this hierarchy, you have to understand the concept of the Dvija, which means twice born. This status belonged to the top 3 varnas. They were the ones who could have this special initiation ceremony into Vedic learning. It was a clear line in the sand, a marker that created a sharp distinction within this new social order. Society was also organized by life stages. Well, at least for the Dvija male. This was seen as the ideal path. You start off as a student, then you become a householder, then you retreat into the forest for spiritual reflection, and finally, you renounce the world entirely. It was a roadmap for an individual's entire life within that social framework.
Now, it is really important to add a layer of nuance here. While sources show that overall women's public roles and status declined, for instance, they were now excluded from political assemblies, this period also produced these absolutely brilliant female thinkers. We're talking about women like Gargi and Maitreyi, who were famous for their sharp minds and philosophical debates. History is rarely a simple straight line.
So we've reshaped the economy, we've reshaped politics, and we've reshaped society. The final piece of the puzzle is religion. How did the gods and the rituals adapt to this new, settled agricultural world?
Well, the divine hierarchy itself started to shift. The big-name gods of the earlier, nomadic period, like Indra, the warrior god of storms, they kind of faded in importance. And in their place, you see the rise of supreme creator gods, like Prajapati, and figures like Vishnu and Rudra, who would become absolutely central to later Hinduism. The gods themselves were becoming more abstract, more cosmic in scale.
And as the gods changed, so did the way people worshipped. Rituals became longer, way more complex, and absolutely essential for everything from a king's coronation to ensuring a good harvest. And this, in turn, massively boosted the power and prestige of the Brahmana priests, since they were the exclusive masters of these critical ceremonies.
Okay, so let's pull all of this together. We've seen how a single piece of technology triggered this incredible cascade of changes that literally remade an entire civilization, from the ground up.
The key takeaway here is this: technology is never just about the tools. The introduction of iron fundamentally changed how people related to the land itself. It created the surplus that allowed for cities, the territory that defined kingdoms, the complexity that demanded a social hierarchy, and the whole new worldview that even reshaped the heavens.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If iron was the disruptive tech 3,000 years ago, what is the Krishna Ayas, the black metal of our time? Is it the internet, the microchip, maybe artificial intelligence? What forces are at work right now, forging the society of tomorrow?